That time is just about come, right? Yeah. So then if we get started, how about that? Here we go. Page 2. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you, the one God, the thusness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death. Kunjo Sumla Jaha page 5. Teba Dijina Chumende Gilbuka Jago Bumbo Long Gelongi Gindu Jimbo Don Jonju Simbe Gindu Jimbo Don Da Jinu Shunde De Chumende Samona Washi Jawe Chigi Namdrangi Tingi Zinla Nyoba Shuzo Yandi Simba Simba Jimbo Baba Jirizi Wanju Shiragi Baru Do Jimbo Samu Juba Nila Nambar Dajin Bumbo Mawo De Dala Yana Jigi Tombara Nambar Tao Dene Sangi Gitu Seda Demba Sharifu Chanju Simba Simba Jimbo Baba Jirizi Wanju La Dige Jimezo Riji Bu Kanala Shiragi Baru De Jimba Samu Jiba Chuba Duba De Didar Labar Ja Dige Jime Badan Chanju Simba Simba Baba Jirizi Wanju Gi Sedan Demba Shari Dadi Bola Dige Jimezo Sharibu Rigi Buan Rigi Bumu Ganlala Shiragi Baru De Jimba Samu Cheba Chuba Duba De Didar Nambar Davar Jade Bumbo Ngabo De Dala Yang Ranjigi Dombar Nambar Yanda Bar Jizu Tao Zu Tomba U Tomba Ni Zu Zu Zule Tomba Ni Shema Yin Tomba Ni Le Gyan Su Shema Yin No De Jin Du Tora Dan Du Ji Dan Du Ji Dan Nambar Shiva Nan Tomba O Shari Bu De Da Chu Dan De Tomba Ni De Sin Ni Me Ba Ma Ge Ba Ma Ga Ba Shima Me Ba Shima Dan Shiva Shiva Me Ba Ga Ma Me Ba O Shari Bu De Da Wa Na Tomba Ni La Su Me So Wa Me Di Ji Me Du Ji Me Na Ba Di Ba Me Me Na Wa Me Na Me Je Me Lu Me Yi Me Su Me Ra Me Ji Me Ru Me Re Ja Me Ju Me Do Me Ge Ga Me Ba Ne Yi Je Ga Me Yi Je Na Ba Je Be Ga Ge Ba Do Ya Me Do Ma Re Ba Me Ma Re Ba Se Ba Me Ba Ne Ga Shi Me Ga Shi Se Be Ba Do Ya Me Do De Jin Do Dong Ma Wa Dong Ku Ju Wa Dong Ko Ba Dong La Me Yi Chi Me Do Ba Me Ma Do Ba Ya Me Do Sha Ri Bu De Da We No Jang Ju Se Ba Na Do Ba Me Be Chi Ri Che Ra Je Ba Ru Do Chen Ba La Ten Ji Ne De Sem La Je Ba Me Jin Ta Ba Me De Chin Ji Lo Le Shin Do De Ne Yang Gen Le De Be Tar Re Chin Do De Son Do Nam Ba Ju Be Sang Ye Tam Ji Kya Che Ra Je Ba Ru Do Chen Ba La Ten Ne La Na Me Ba Yang Da Ba Ru Do Be Shang Ju Do Mo Ba Ru Do Ba Ru Sa Han Ge So De Da Wa Na Che Ra Ge Ba Ru Do Chin Be Nga Re Ba Chin Be Nga La Na Me Be Nga Me Nyang Ba Da Nyang Be Nga Tong We Da Je Ra Du Shi Wa Ru Shi Be Nga Mi Zu Be Na Den Ba She Ba Ja De She Ra Ge Ba Ru Do Chin Be Nga Me Ba Ta Ya Da Ga De Ba Ra Gan De Ba Ra Sang Ga De Bu Di Do Sha Ri Bu Jang Ju Sam Ba Sam Ba Chin Po De Da She Ra Ge Ba Ru Do Chin Ba Sa Mo La La Ya Tene Chum De De Tengen Zen De Le Sin De Jang Ju Sam Ba Chin Po Ba Ba Shen Le Se Wan Chu La Le So She Chao Wa Jin Ne Le So Ri Ki Bu De De Shin Do De De Shin De Shi De Kyu Ge Ten Ba Shin Do She Ra Je Ba Ru Do Chin Ba Sa Mo La Che Par Sha De De Shin She Ba Nam Kyan Je Se Yi Rong O Chum De De Ge Je Ka Se Le Se Dan Den Ba Sha Ra Da De Bu Dan Jang Jo Sem Ba Shin Bo Ba Ba Shin Le Se Wan Shu Dan Tam Je Dan Den Be Ko Re De Da Dan La Dan Mi Dan La Ma Yi Dan Ji Se Chi Be Chi Den Yi Ran De Chon De Ge Sum Ba La Ngun Ba De Lu. Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajgriha on Vulture's Peak, together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom gone beyond, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formations, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are no spheres of the eyes up to no spheres of the mind. There are none of these all the way up to the sphere of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance, nor is there destruction of ignorance. There are none of these all the way up to there is no old age and death, nor is there destruction of old age and death. Thus there is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, all bodhisattvas hold to the wisdom gone beyond. Because there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond falsity, they reach beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times by relying on the wisdom gone beyond, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, most perfect and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the wisdom gone beyond, the mantra of great insight, the unequaled and unsurpassed mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as the truth, where there is no deception. The mantra of the wisdom gone beyond is proclaimed, Tayada, Gandhi, Gandhi, Para, Gandhi, Para, Samgandhi, Bunzi, Shariputra, this is how a Bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn the profound practice. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and praised the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, very good, O son of good family, it is exactly like that. When the profound wisdom gone beyond should be practiced exactly as you have said, and then the Tathagata will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the noble Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, men, anti-gods, and spirit, their artful leaders, praised the words of the Blessed One, so in the noble discourse on the essence of the wisdom gone beyond.
Lawyers, I'm not the thing. I mean, one not people want to be set up the age. As I don't know, you want to get in the house, the son of the Manchu, that she should have said it. And it's chilly chair, the mangless chair, the biggest summer town, my message. Non choose the chill, Lumadi told the church, non single on the church. Oh, the none of those that send me on the church, that everybody shall be not you, that you want to see. This we are essence.
And now it is Sunday, and we resume an introduction to Dharma, our Sunday lecture in an introduction to Dharma, and in activities that are external and internal, in activities that are physical and verbal, as well as mental. By Dharma, especially those that are internal. These are Dharma as we introduce it now.
Boy, second time, I said, and that of party that Marantuki, that Dewa, Dunge said, that Dewa the Dunge singing for Dewa Yong said, Dunge Yong said. And Dewa Tuma to what the Dunge Tuma to say, that case at the gate for that under Rangi Lunga Yisum, your Lunga Yisum, in an etan. So, Tango, Yi Tone, and that took where in Lunga took where Rotter, but it is weird. Says that they do Kazan, Marango, Swat, and Tewa, you have a nation, and a Rangita, other Tungi Tigitia, 다 롱 고순이 롱아 예수님 고순이 고네 사비요 대화대야 롱아 예수님 고순이 고네 사고요 세상 근데 일이 롱아 예수님 고네다 그거야 아니 저 나한테 대시 없으면 다 들려 아니 제 제세 다 대시 또 찍네 이거 그래서
So then again, we now would consider how experience that is both painful and pleasant, and as there are all through experiences that are painful as well as those that are pleasant, and those that we intend that would be pleasant experiences, sometimes we cannot manage to bring them to pass, and then those that are painful come about unintended. And when it is this way, it is borne out through activities that are physical, verbal, and mental. And we would consider most those that are mental to put those into place, and then upon those to found activities that are physical and verbal, so that experiences, both painful and pleasant, that we feel and experience, we would understand are carried out, the karmas accumulated that are responsible for them, carried out in all three ways, physically, verbally, and mentally. And then the pain we experience follows from karmas that are accumulated through all three, physically, verbally, and mentally. So all three of these are involved. And when we urge another to dharma, it is urging them through these three doors, all of them.
뭐야 다 근데 일이 다 나랑도 가르스나 다 랑기 다 내한테 간지치고 그래서나 대화 또 되봐 동네 또 믿어봐 다 din이 실례샤야 싸움으로 din이세 다 대화 또 되봐 뒤치돌라 아니 가르쳐 버려 동네에 매바 요한 마토비야 다 가르쳐 버려스 다듯이 다 대외 유튜브이나 대화 용기 여봐 대외 유머도나 대화 용기 매봐 동해지 주나 동해 용기 여봐 동해지 유머도나 동해 용기 매봐 그렇다 거리바 이 차나 배다다 내 예봐 생기나 그거 열어서
So then we would understand the situation as it is, that pain is undesirable and pleasure is desirable. Just this consideration is the basis of all that follows, the mother of all that would follow. And pleasure is desirable. So what to be done in order to ensure pleasures? And pain is unwanted. What to do then to alleviate pain? Wherever causes for satisfaction are, there will be the result, satisfaction. Wherever there are causes for pain, there will be the result, pain. So if we wish to avoid pain, then we would eliminate the causes of pain. If we wish for satisfaction, we would bring about the causes of satisfaction. And this is the sense in which we mean karma is definite.
뭐야 간에 나가 너서 간에 너러버렸다 간에 너러버렸어 그래서 뭐다 대화 오기에나 대외 주주거와 이 마주버 다 동에 되게 면도나 동에 주주요 말마 이거 주버 세상 나가 되는 주버에서
So where is the mistake made? What's the mistake that's made along the way? When we wish for satisfaction, the mistake is that we accumulate causes for dissatisfaction. And where we wish to alleviate pain, the mistake is that we accumulate the very causes of pain.
다 대인이 먼저 다 가르치고 그래서 저걸요 저다 먼저 가르치고 그래서 다 먼저 대화 되고 열어서 대외 주주 그래 동네 되고 말에 동네 되고 말에 아까 그래서 랜드에서
And so what does that leave us to do? What would we do then? Recognizing satisfaction to be desirable, then we would bring about the causes for satisfaction. And recognizing pain to be unwanted, we would eliminate causes for pain.
that 대화 group saying, 대화 group 알아, 대화 group 시험봐 버려. 동해 빵 알아, 동해 빵 시험봐, 동해 뭐 쳐봐 버려. 어디 마주나 동해 빵 신기 말해, 동해기 주 까신기 말해. 대화 group 신기 말해, 대외 주라고 대화라고 통그 말해, 대외 주 통그 말해.
And so then, unless we are familiar with what our causes for satisfaction, we will not accumulate those causes of satisfaction. And unless we are familiar with what are causes of pain, we will not abandon those causes of pain. This requires first a familiarization with pain as it is, for without such a familiarization, there can be no awareness of how to abandon causes of pain. So we would accumulate causes for contentment and eliminate those causes of pain, and this requires a first familiarization.
다들 말 좋아하지 마. 어느 말에서는 아니 다 이때와 수도 그래. 아니 동해 매우 수소 그래서 저들이 아니 니네 먼저 말에서는 다 가디서 그래서 다 대화 가디도 그래. 또 대외 주 가디도 그래. 동해 주 가디 세 그래서 다들 좋아서 내 버려. 제가 달래어도 수도 그래서 다 동해디 또 파트웨어 말 수도 쭉쭉 보고 그래. 수도 쭉쭉 도나 아니 동해 대화 좀 얘기 좀 무엇이 맞아버렸어. 어디서
And going on, then one would consider, who is it that is responsible for this? Who accumulates causes for contentment, and who is it who eliminates causes of pain? And furthermore, when would these causes of contentment be accumulated? And when would the causes of pain finally be abandoned? These are two natural questions. And the answer to the first is the individual responsible for this is no one else apart from each themselves. There's no pointing to another to say they are responsible for my contentment. One must point only to themselves and find it there.
저희들이 가디주고 두즈게 제가 가디주고 내가 가디주고 그래서 가디주고 그래서는 아니 또 두배기 두배기 개와 두배기 두즈 인신 두즈 로스케요 말에 제만 두그랬었는데 배 샤야요 말 아니 직다 안다 두즈 딜레세 세인데 개요 말 두즈 가디르스나 하다 단다 두즈 두배 두즈 단다래 자기 약속 단다래 두두개 단다래 제가 제일 아슬라나 다 바지 친구 좋은 사례 제가 단다 두고 그래요.
And the second question then, when is the proper time for this undertaking, for dharma, for virtue? It isn't as though there is another time set apart different from this time that is the appropriate time for dharma and for virtue. And it isn't as though after some delay, the proper time will arrive. It isn't as though there's any other time apart from the present moment. It is, in fact, just now that is the time. And it is just now that is the time for all the conditions for this undertaking are present, and each is fully capable of it at present. And to ever think to delay is to allow for interference.
yes, 나는 저 단다래 세고야 인세지 아니 제만 주주 요 말에 세가 괜찮이요. 나 진짜 괜찮이가 괜찮 배 침으로했어. 가서는 주주 단다 치고를 했어요. 단다 침마토가 있나? 아니 백년가 사고 찾아했어. 만한 쪽이 단대 드린 뻔한 가지고 그배로 찾아와나 산이다 세치만이 부디 수원을 랩말 술을 라와요 말했어. 제가 라와 메디 다다 마두가 있나? 정침부지 라사. 제가
To say that the present moment is just this, the present moment is just the time, and that any other time is mistaken delay. These two are crucial. That the present moment is the moment would be understood by recognizing the danger in neglecting the present moment. Just think, for instance, to illustrate this, of tomorrow and one's impending death. There is no knowing for certain whether tomorrow arrives first or death arrives first. And therefore, if the present moment isn't used, then one has fallen into great danger.
딱 이제 주주 제마 상나서 섬론하는 땅아 땅다 중앙 제마 지기 땅아 제마 주주 샤보지가 좀 지기 있는데 나서 선배한테 망고 주주 가두이 있는 동그래라 수수 삼 세계를 삼그려 왔어. 그래서 이 삼바이면은 다디 가서 취치해라. 같이 치쇼 그랑게 취 용양을 같이 치쇼 안다티 차기 요래스 안다는 거잖아 시험도 아니 취다 주주 바로라 한달 너바치니 바지 치쇼도 가래서나 길로 봐서 한달 치는 나 당금 주주 당금이도 당에 제마 주주 상하지는 시기 마 제마 주주 라스는 시기 인상 받지 어디 삼로디 저기 따라 취지야 바지 최대 바지 치쇼 찍으래서 어디 바지 찍고야 굉장히 가래서나 아니 제마나 타요 말 저기는 제마는 곧 줘야 개가 말이지. 니라 아니 아주 첼 내가요. 아주 첼 수강을 말별로 세대가서 되게 말로 주 되게 로자 되게 세대가 나서 언제든 만들 매번 인도 다들 아마랑 이거 말 메두서 뭐 바지 참고를 해서 놓지.
The tendency to imagine that another time, a later time, will be a better time, that a more suitable time is on its way. This is a very strong tendency for us. We will think another time is the time. We will most certainly think this way. And it is just this that is the greatest obstacle to us. And following the lessons in the textual tradition, it is said that just this inclination to postpone is the single greatest obstacle to a person realizing dharma, to always think that after some delay, the better moment will arrive, the more opportune time will arrive. This is the unfeeling insensitivity to dharma. It is problematic because later on is endless. Later is endless. There's no end to when we can delay. And so that's the one point. And the next is that it isn't definite either how long we will live. We cannot say certainly it is another 5 years or 10 years. We do not know certainly how long we have left.
Oh, that 다른 보이나 아니 가데스 치고래. 스타. 보고 어디 lap다 보고 싶을 때 시험을 보고 나서 저거는 단가 가데스 치고래. 그거 어디나지 단가도 가데스 치고래. 해서들. 다 취치온도 다 당고 저 공숨 장갑 봤죠? 아니 콘도 숨디 봐도 맞죠. 콘도 숨 가두이네야 카가 많이 봐. 배 퇴바 당고 퇴바지. 안 퇴베 퇴니 쳔바도 상 야야 상 쳔바지 또바게. 아니 또바게 퇴디. 아니 양이 고는 랑 온도 양이 셈다. 거기 피해가 또바니 보디 솔직히 출을 취샤고 대원 나신 어디 리지 주머니나 아니 다 양이 지단 뒤고 시작이 그래서
Now then, if the present moment is the moment and it begins just now, then the question is, well, then what do I do starting now? And it's just the sort of question that a child would ask in a classroom. What am I supposed to do now? What one would do is recognize there is study and contemplation and cultivation, all three count out three and recognize these three, that one begins by learning and learns a lesson, and then through contemplation can recall what one has learned, recalling it such that it gives rise to an insight. And then the insight is cultivated and reinforced and integrated into the mind so that the insight and the mind itself are one, as water mixed into water itself. And then when this is the process of demonstrating dharma, this is in fact dharma demonstrated.
세상 다 대순과 예친구인 거다. 시에살와 다 예친구인데 다 그거에 삼바 매나야 핑계 말이야. 삼바에 고바 매나야 핑계 말이야. 세상 순과 예벌도 거야. 그냥 그 지기지를 저와요 봐. 어디에 차대요. 그래서
Then one sees these three all together as vital, together, that to have learning alone without any contemplation is insufficient, or to have learning and contemplation but never any cultivation, this too is inadequate. That all three are present is vital.
그냥 먼저 신을 전도 담이 집에나 전도 답고야. 미유디 지부 상보. 배나 먼저 신도를 답고 이면은 신도를 답고야. 미유디 마 신도를 배 아버지께 배주 야고 땅 여받지. 치도 미유디 치도라 신도를 답고요. 다신도 그거디 다신도 야고 깨야 돼. 와 깨랑 농수야 여받이 그거리. 이나양 용어라 당 바도 아니 취다 리더 트레이더 누가가 야고 좀 마사나 아마 미유디 두고 말아왔어. 지도 다 대용어 쳐봐라 더 답에 수행이 야고 지면은 양 튼지 신바 상당히 깨요 말아서는 당고 수행돼 야고지 얘네 바도 그 리더 참 주제도 따다 여봐지 아니 얘는 담을 대고 듣게 아니 용주 두고 왔어. 배티나 신이제 아주 배티 쉬잖아.
No differently, when planting with the goal of later harvesting a crop, it is the later harvest that is the objective that motivates planting in the first place. It's with a view of consuming the harvest later on that one plants in the present. The objective is that later harvest. Yet with the objective of a later harvest and planting a seed, if in the meantime the fertilizer, the water, and the rest are not present, then there will be no harvest. Or if those are present, but the seed that is planted is not a good seed, then there's no harvest. So there would be, in order to finally have the good harvest, which may be consumed, the good seed, followed by the fertilization and the water and the rest.
이제 이제 나는 배들을 불러 현재 삼을 땅이나 아무 수행 야보 거야 처디 퇴바들 하루도 유왜 로바 현지적인 야보 거야 처디 추들 류도 조여도 잘돼 다 다만 제분민 맞지 다만 제분민 배다 농수요 내려와 제가 대대 이들 농수요 처디 아니 공중 하루도 추고 류도 배 야보 처가 처디 아니 삼바 쳔바들 삼바듯이 근데 다뭐 공중 랑이 별로 또가 잡아 깨 아니 랑배 대화만 동행끼리 깨면 대화를 로스에 줘 봐. 요아처럼 근데 대부분 봐서 자기 어려서
And then when we consider what is intended by the metaphor, it is this, that the study is like a seed. And then the contemplation, the recollection of learned lessons is supportive conditions which are required, as it were, the water, the fertilizer, and the warmth for germination. And then the cultivation itself, the cultivation in meditation, is the very consumption of the harvest and the result. It is to harvest ever increasing good fortune as one's prospects grow more and more favorable, as insights grow again and again in the mind.
뭐 이렇게 숨은 개치를 삼은 땅이나 저버도 개치셔. 저버도면은 아니 나 삼바 용해 요말 공부 연구 말해서 나 저버도 개치셔스. 저버면은 아니 다 간대도 지었으나 저버면은 아니 다 삼바도 공부 용원 빼는 거도 밀라고면 요지. 밀라고니가 매주 미지여버이나 아니 미디 셈나다 배 강배 토가 자고 삼그레 리간 자고 삼그레 자간 자고 삼초로 와 삼초로 돼 거야 자투 말와 콜라고 연만 디나시 퇴바면은 삼바도 공부께 두고 말해 제가 밀라고 매번 빼자 송구요 해서
In terms of their order, study is necessarily of great importance. Without first one studies, one doesn't have any material for their contemplation and cultivation. No study then no contemplations and no cultivation. In view of the order of this series, then, study is critical. No study then, no contemplations, and no cultivation. And the metaphor given in texts is of a person who hasn't the ability to use their hands. They might think to climb a rock face, a mountain, to the top of a building, but unable to use their hands, they are unable to do this. So, not yet having studied, one cannot go forward in contemplations and cultivation.
이따 빼주나는 시험도 가진 것도 저저 것도 시도 퇴바디 아니 개치주의면 퇴바 때문에서 드메이스 퇴바디 아니 가서 잘라 세고 이유는 잘라 세도 좀 봐라 아니 랑게 잘라데 녀봐 그 잘라 통야 차진 통화에 차진 아니 가서 왜도 보고라 대단 퇴바디 때문 하나도 셈나도 뭔가 말이 봤어야 때문에 세야 드메기 민 빼자 드메기 민 따네 아니 몸바세 드메시 로토바데 민다네 냐면난 게 요래서
And in the preliminary practices, study is likened to the lighting of a lamp that dispels the darkness of ignorance. Wherever one would search for anything, one would do so only where they might see clearly the things through which they sort, rather than in any darkness. To find what one is after, one must be able to look for it in the light. Where there is the darkness of ignorance, that first must be dispelled, and it is said that study is the very lamp that dispels the darkness of ignorance. We give the name itself, this epithet, lamp dispelling the darkness of ignorance, and apply it to study itself.
잘라 먼저 수수 강변나 잘라 마모도 되거나 잘라 나다 잘라 야가 누가 아니 야가 나라 야가는 야가 빼 하면 자 치쇼도 연구로 어디 쳐다디 네 잘라 수수랑 예배 잘라 자 치쇼도 수수다 잘라 예배 되나시 만나도 지도는 잘라가는 다 약속 요번 이 빼대 가서는 퇴버들었어 퇴버디 아니 라가 가두이는 펜바만도 네가 가요 말했어 배나가도 너도 잘라서 버도 있나 미기 이하로 쳐고 꿀바 아니 라와다 마고 요를 강이 마고 채고 내가 찍을 대화 찍을 때야 그 중에 깨버치게 그랬어 퇴버디게 아니 고 가리네 다 간다랑 펜바 마도 never 용고 말에 생기 꾸바다 초바다 레바다 쇼르바 세야게 다 강에 되게디 근데 요 말서 제가 데메디 되버더라 펜바 차니 잘라 노르기 다 치쇼다지 빼자 송요래 송었어
And furthermore, among one's belongings, among one's possessions, whatever they've got accumulated in their home, among all possessions, there's always that which is most valuable of all. And in ordinary human society, too, there are objects valued as most precious above all others. And another metaphor is given, and that is to say, of all wealth, there is no wealth that compares to the wealth of learning. And this is to say that what one has learned is only ever to one's benefit and never harmful. Different than the other wealth and resources that we might accumulate, which we might loan out and not have returned to us, or which might be taken by force from us, or stolen from us, or misplaced or lost. That we've actually learned is never lost, never misplaced, never taken from us by force, never stolen. And whereas other things that we come to possess are temporarily cause for some contentment later when they're lost or whatever might happen, they cause us to become distraught. And never so for learning. So it is said that what one has learned becomes one's greatest asset.
Oh, yeah. Rangi. Sedila. And this is Ran Kali in a Kenyam Dole, but Suzu College of Rosan Kiko, Yomar. And it less in the Parish, not a leisure say at the Yomar, Suzu call you Tuba the Yovan, Tuba Suzu call in the Ram language. And do dig Sechimala to make it Azak Tone. And but Manguyo has.
And so it is wherever one goes in this lifetime with what they've learned, it always arrives there with them, never without any delay, never left behind, and never requiring any additional expense so that it is there with one. It's always there wherever one arrives, never left behind. And furthermore, it remains present as a latency in the mind in successive lives as well.
Oh, yeah, that Rama, Burumbujin, you know, Nambu Yoba Yina, and then Rangi Bear, Sangi Deba Yoba Nashi, number, Yaperbu in the Sala, Jugu in the Karichigo in around Deba Kari, Tutuba, or Tinashi Teba Yena, and Sambata Boba, Chazan Tutugu.
As with the wish-fulfilling gem, which bestows upon one whatever it is they wish for, whether it is to fly through the sky, to burrow through the earth, whatever one wishes, the wish-fulfilling gem grants just that. So it is with what one has learned through their studies. It is the wish-fulfilling gem.
Oh, sedan you do some time to Tamu, the Ketchumbu Yina, that Ketchumbu Zigur, what Zini, Ketchumbu Yam Lam, what is that the line of Tandala, some of the days, she said, Tang, Ruche, and that of a chair, what did you turn into the response?
Then if it is so important as it seems so, then one would accordingly actually value it in just such a way, and then demonstrate that they value it so in actuality. And it's just this that we demonstrate now when we gather together to spend our time as we do.
that Mandu Tuba Cherry, Kari Tuba Chigores, to what under to what under that, Kari Tuba Chigores, that Tuba Chair, Mandu Tuba Cherry, Kari Tol, Tanda Kari Bess, Kari Tuba Chigores, that Tuba Chair. That Tuba Chigore, Manando, Semnala, Soanala, Doya, ngā dewa kodu, ngā kibu koyu, sēgda, kibu tita, dewa de kandes to, ngoyosi, di dewa de tobya kandes togudo. Tā ngā dipe sem nāngi kāngi lūgi nāda diso ngā lo kō midu, 어디 매 마요한테 가르치고 또 동네 되게 좀 쌤은 동네 마요와 늘 나다 마요와 되게 가르치고도 쓰니 동네 기교 뭐트 아니 동네 그 뭐트 사람 동네 그 규대지기 동네 그 기계를 쓰는 규대 방법을 사 디터 냠내시기 어려서
Then if we need to study, then what is it that we need to study? What exactly would be the topic? So we are studying. Then what are we studying about? What is the subject matter for us? What it is for us is drawn from our experience, our mental experience of satisfactions and dissatisfactions. We recognize in the satisfactions that we would enjoy those satisfactions. We wish for contentment and satisfaction. And in the pains that we experience, physical pains we experience, the mental pains we experience, we recognize that we would eliminate such physical and mental pains. Then how would we do it? First, we must be familiar with pain as it is, and familiarization with pain as it is involves a recognition of what causes pain. And when causes for pain are understood, then those very causes may be eliminated. And this is our topic and our subject.
어이 디 나네 다나가도 잘 조선 제약이 배제디 생라 그 장주 람림에서 왔어 람제서 봤어 디 나라 다 가르치기 어려서나 아주 터바치야 돼 가래서나 다 나랑도 달라 지도 나랑도 수수기 미세나 아주 대도 좋아 걔가 나시기 동에 아니 쌤라 남자 르르 나자 다 가르쳐 봐야나 인주 간가 동에 빼로지 샤 아까 동에 인제 찍그 쇠투기 미도나 아니 동에 뭐네 동에 되게 빼되게 쳐야 오늘 되게 동에 아니 인송 동에 생겨서 이 아니 가르쳐 그래서 쇠투고 말했어 동에 친구 들이지 쇠투고면은 아니 동네 친구들 간데스 여기 입에서 땅을 갑자기 자기가 해서
And when this is the topic of study, and when we have the text that we do with this very topic, the graded stages on the path to enlightenment, the path to enlightenment involves just this, the subject matter that we do study. And in this, the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, the pains and pleasures of the human life are given as examples or instances of physical pain and mental pain, pains of the body and the pains of the mind. And when in a human life, the pains of birth, aging, sickness, and death are unbearable as they are, well, if it is so, also recognize there are hell realms, and there the pain is greater yet. Then when these instances of pain in the human life, birth, aging, sickness, and death are unbearable, how much more unbearable will it be then, these greater pains in the hell realms?
어이 나 제가 딜레이인데 나 말한도 한다 말한도 그 초에 나를 유교 말한도 동행지야 마 키우미도 거의 키우미도 다 강에도 같이 좀더 독세하게 다 만들고 강에 진대야지 먼저 강에디 딱 야제도 마서는 빼 하장 취주 답에 배제도 시에바이나 간다다 등산께서 마선다 간다 그 제로도 마선다 야제 요말 콜 야제 개고 쉽게 말해 예 송구 동해는 삼로 땅 동해 소 동해도 직도 당데 랑 삼로 땅 이제 돌아서 좀 고할래 양용사예나 아주 단다 지도나게 동해도 동해 당을 콜레고 걸 말해서
And this then is the counsel from the guidance from the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. And in the experiences of a human life, in all that we recognize in the human life to be painful, in all the states that are dissatisfactory, all those things of which we say, oh, I'm not well, they're not well, there are all these issues and all of these problems, all of these issues and problems, they are negligible. If we were to quantify them, they wouldn't even register as 1% of the pain of suffering in hell realms. All of the pains that we see, all of the problems and pains of human society now, they simply wouldn't register compared to the pain in hells.
뭐도 제세단 다만 저거 삼로로 좀 퇴선 간디치고 레스다 간디치기 베스 좋았다구나 다 말한 저거 단다 다 오케이 삼로 나와 다 돼야 대화 미드베 동해세 뭐지 다 미드베 동해 딜라야 아니 다 말한 저 단다 수수기 단다 나도 밀을 내봐 밀르기 때나 다 맞도 제가 나지기 동해디 당고 멀때 그 빼라 맞지 빼지 빼디나신 아니 텔레 동에 채워 아니 던돌레 채워 이달레 채워 녀와 동에 찍 채워 어떤 데서 만 멀때 아니 동에 데서 봐 랑게 동에들라 동에 냠당기 동에 냠 아주 동에 삼로 땅다들라 동에 냠당기 동에다 동에 당랭이 동에 스레기 만내시다 봐 먹고 열어서 동해 양상을 봐서
명당, 이 서로 있어서 서로 깨 죽고.
동해 당내서 동해랑 창아 수족배 동해 수족 세면나 수내 거기 데스크 해봐요다.
알레 소소라니 동아니 양쪽바다.
근데 동해 당내기 때 다들 동해 양당 생겨와 시행기 동해 양와라 민 동해 디 냐니디 나이나 아니 수족 영 토사라 토사 말해. 그때 삼로 땅에 동해 냠다 왔어. 동해 당내스 동해 빼는 것도 때 랑기 동해 간디지나야 쇠투바. 될라야 별라비야 동해들 단도배 동해 가지 친구 유네 랑 쇠투야 이와 때문에 저와 이래 동해 당내스 봤어.
With study and contemplation to these ends, how is it done? Recognizing that contentment and satisfaction are desirable and pain and suffering are undesirable, unwanted. And when we recognize it with a human rebirth, with the biological endowment of the human body, that human body entails pain and suffering of birth, aging, sickness, and death. It is the human body as basis, an instance for growing familiar with pain and suffering as it may be, and then extrapolating from it even greater pain known to the animals in the animal realm, and greater pain yet known to the Preta realm, and pain even greater yet experienced by hell beings in hell realms. One can recognize then ever greater pain experienced elsewhere. And one grows familiar with that too, so that they might sympathize with others in their pain. There are these two in recognition of pain and suffering. Sympathetic experience and identification with another's pain, the first, and then a patient willingness to endure pain, two. That first, the identification through sympathy with the pain of another is to see the pain of the other and then imagine their pain. Were it my pain, would I be able to bear it? And the patient endurance of pain is a willingness to go through whatever pain one must.
나 당당하도 내 당보 장도 동에 당연히 이 냠랜디 이스 아마 겁나면 또 됐을 깔래 가고요. 동에 냠단기 소화돼 나서 깨쳐오라. 깨 투그래라 지고그래 해서
Now, for a person beginning, patient endurance of pain is very difficult to manage, to develop. Without exercising it, one doesn't very quickly develop it. Whereas sympathetic identification with the pain of another, one is capable of developing comparatively easily.
당연히 동에 남당기 동에 세디 알아서 빼나 제가 미지도나 차샤베 나 알아서 대산 지도로 마주요래 마주요래 내미요래 대산 딜레 용도 가서 아니 셈나라 아들 배 동에 야녀들 통도상 못 배. 동에 배 파주고 동에 신이 동에 되게라는 통 아니 될라라는 미수바 배 삼는 거 아니 딜레게 삼로 디 아니 랑 소화들랑 토를 내봐 이나 아니 랑 소사 말해 아니 랑 간데지다 삼로당 랑 동에 야녀들 수수 임바 이나 아니 동네들 잘 보세요 보사 말해 오 딜레게 삼로당 전에 아니 동에 모처가 제대로 해서
Identifying sympathetically with the pain of another, we are readily able to do in human society where we see there is violent conflict, epidemics, famine, when we see others experiencing the pain of those conditions, when we see it, it can occur to us, well, were it me in that condition, would I be able to bear it? And then it is felt to be, in fact, unbearable, and one experiences the pain of the other sympathetically this way.
근데 인류 만화도 장답에 이미 통야 암조 거야. 랑그 루기 소리야. 맞으기 대도 동에 가르스 친주에서 되시게고요. 동에 친주야. 되시 가르스는 또 가르치는 동에 친주에서는 아주 저한테 상관례고로 하다. 수술로 빼는 나서 첨부지 위에 그마 강의 첨부 셈나 감자위나 강의 첨부 빼때 수술 셈나 빼때 게 쇼르고야 데마투야 근데 게 제기로 왔어. 이나야 만화도 동에 내다 되게 야고 14호 집에 가돌라 이게 통통야 암조 고도야 소부 초토야 동에도 동에 친주 산다 대시 되고요. 제가 동에 친주 가르스나 곧 뒤쪽에 차에 있네. 저도 예전에 지금 나사게 모여 차에 봐 있나요? 나사 심바 미게 통마투야 암조 고마투야 여기 명마투야 근데 동에 뒤들 삼로 땅에 있나? 거기 모여 차에 자주 춘주 차례. 그래서 대리기사는 걸 춘주스 대시게도 되고요. 그래서
So all of the pain and suffering, which is apparent to us, which we see and hear of, and which we can feel ourselves, it is nevertheless minor in comparison. But why would it be conceived of as being minor, especially when we are very sick. We know it to be very painful, to entail great anxiety. Oh, I'm very ill. We cry out. We wiggle about in pain. We know this, that what we've seen and what we've heard and what we've felt of pain, and when we learn it is small, we would wonder, in what sense is it minor? The sense in which it's minor is its duration. It is of a short duration. It's finite, and in terms of its nature, it will be the very kind of pain and suffering that is seen and heard of and felt. It's not unknown to us. This is the sense in which it is minor.
뭐 되게서 하다가 동해 폴라 배랑이 소화 예바 동해 뭐 쳐봐 동해 근데 이바이나 아니 다 말하면서 다다 수수 랑 나대에 있나다 랑 쌤은 남자 예바이나 누르 나저 예바이나야 아니 수수 동해디 지 할라마스나 수수마도 시행배 동해 남아 용화도 왔다 동해 랑래 집에 시행 간다 다들 수수 강에 들릴 때 만도 신바들 동해 매바 소화이 마야다 랑게 나디 동해디 하장 배다 수요마투도 임보든조 아니 쌤나 아메바 쥐투고도 해서
That the halam is so that not is amla halam me somebody and rest in the dongal din na
말만 신바 파마자 수수 나한테는 수수 쌤나 수수 나디도 수수 하자마도 수수 수요마투도 강에도 생기로 와 어디들에 고삼시 지도 그래 식세 아니 다 이제 동해 날되어 아직 밖에다 랑이 동해 들을 때는 시행이 동해랑 소투와 어디들 제발 친구 요래서
And then when one is familiar and understands how it is one has felt and does feel in their pain, that while ill, while sick, when anxious, that it feels like this and it is so painful and unpleasant, then it is also well known that just this is what others experience. It is this pain that when experienced personally is so unbearable. It is just this pain that is experienced by others. And in this way, this familiarization with pain is very constructive.
이제 스타트인데 이제 말하는 지금 동해 생애디 아니 지금 밖에 다다 pendant 아주 동해 다다 시에도 뭐냐 송구 동해 하장의 침보를 다당 아주 동해 취주에서 대시 개부여 왔어. 제가 파종하고 동해 침보지 대시 개 아니 동해 배 망고지 뭐저 동해 대시 개원도 아니 동해 대다 랑게 일단 나다 연구 말해 나 가진 연구를 했어 봐다. 선배는 소화나 그 연구를 받아 나도 밖에 계기면 계고야 그러네. 나 계기면 해서 봐. 막 계고 말했어 봐지. 연구를 돼. 이제 소화도 가서 딱 망고 용대로 와. 이내 이제 삼바이나 아니 다 수도 밖에 마지 와 있는데 니주야 버렸다. 계고 매나 제가 니주 상고랬다. 야 버려. 아니 게 뭐고야 돈달라 맞죠? 잘 주냐니 지금 쓰고로 와. 레레 이내 안도 쌤기 띵이 나와. 레기 박자. 유무 숙체자 유무 되게 와서 바자샤베 바자는 먼저 쓰면 되나 장가지 아마 돼야 근데 지금 먼저 쓰면 바자나 열 그래서 되게 이들 상라 얘를 끼기 맨 제네랑라 하게 타줘야 나 그럼 더 먹어야게 이제 시행 가야 파요 그래서
So this is to indicate pain and suffering as it is well known to us, our own pain and suffering. And then just now too, we are pointing out that the pain and suffering we know yet is minor compared to the pain and suffering in hells. And in such a situation, when pain and suffering that we do know is already unbearable for us, and when we look out to consider pain elsewhere in hell realms, we might well think to ourselves, yes, it is unbearable, but fortunately, I'm not bound there. I won't be going there. We will and are likely to think so. And if it is in fact true that one is not ever again born there, then truly, what great fortune and dharma is available to practice then. But in actuality, in the depths of one's mind, there are mental afflictions in their innumerable patternings already present there in the depths of the mind. Afflictions are there, and that doesn't leave us much of a basis for claiming there's no chance whatsoever I'm not going to be born there in hell.
어, 나 미리 산이 레데게 남샤 시어 두잔바 레데게 남샤 시어 두 나라조게 센게 나와 예베게 바자 데스 유목을 원게 샤베 바자 데스 아니 계시 온보 셰바가 유도 투비나 미기 통야 여바 암조 과여바 라베 차야 여바게 근데 치 수수 투비나 자물린 디 나 쇼투야 여르스나 쇼투야 여 말했어 대송 여래서
직진라나 사고라 디 야메나니 직속 장막에 아니
자물린 사고라 딜란데
사고라. Thus, in the presentation of karmic causality, in the mind with its dormant mental afflictions, it will be said of these dormant mental afflictions that if they were given physical form and shape, such that they could be held and seen, would that physical form of all of those dormant mental afflictions fit in this planet of ours? It would be much larger than even this planet of ours.
되게 빼들라 아니 딱 아드레스여서나 이마직 주도 있었지 주도 있었지나 만들기 누가도 줘봐 가도 책에 쌤 선물 가서 단계래 오 레레레레레레레레레레 이거 제가 아니 장가지 않나 근데 장가지 아마 두야 이게 통마 두야 배 암조 년에 년마 두야 라고 창마 두야 여러세야 괜찮대 두신 장가지 앞에서 그래서
And another example given, another illustration, that in 24 hours, in one day of 24 hours, how many actions that are physical and verbal transpire? And how many thoughts transpire? And when each and every one of them has their respective karma, then in all of those that transpire, is there any counting out how many karmas transpire that way? They are uncountable. They go well beyond what can be seen and what can be heard and what is even felt. Such an uncountable number they are.
진짜 이거는 맞다 맞아 유 군중 댐바 레자 유모티 인데게 또 전부 여봐 이나 아니 제부 동에 댐바 또 신부 가르는 거 말에 있다 맞아 삼로타서 수수수 삼로타 밀레 트워크 아니 왜 자니 양이 치고 해서
And when these that transpire innumerably are the very truth of origins, the truth of origins to pain and suffering when they are innumerable? Why wouldn't it be that their result in pain and suffering wouldn't be innumerable? One would think, one would reflect themselves upon this and then also ask others about this.
다 계시 제부 되게디 주디 제부 되게디 용 먹어야 나나 다부 되발래봐 얼와 딜레스도 동해 모신에 동해 미드버 로케 다 동해 미드버 로케 사도 마시네다 동해디 매버서야 합시시도 아니 다 육군중디 매버서 얼와 육디 군중디 매버서 얼 다 매버서 도그레스 그래서 아니 다 lamdeng sores lamdeng that's you never saw any they would do the never saw any dewa top us do never saw to as lambda you lamdeng they would go and say that but they we were this one.
And then in view of this, that from innumerable origins would result innumerable pains and suffering, would naturally arise a desire to avoid such a necessary result. And when that result, that is pain and suffering, is unwanted, then one finds out the origin of cause of pain and suffering in order to eliminate it. How will one eliminate it then? One eliminates it by producing the truth of the path. The truth of the noble ones, the path, eliminates pain and brings about contentment. This set of cause and effect is of the cause, the path, producing its effect, nirodha, cessation of pain.
Oh yes, that indeed that obulu to the courage is another system. Not only need to be but we never to make up with it. Choosing but getting Matria. Getting that donation to miss a law. That donation to miss a law. Chiwa Trager Yamsu Noya ni Chisi Megi Ese Maju Par Ese so and Tewa Mijuros. Where
这种
this job. That they could do it. Want to come to such some things tango.
And bearing out just this with scriptural support is illustrious Nagarjuna's letter to the king, which tells us such sufferings are utterly intolerable. One will experience them billions of times. So long as the non-virtue has not run out, one will not stop living that life.
Oh yes, 세상사 제시 미기we le ke 마세베 파르돌라 아니 소 가데 마주피 파게 소다 태와 메주바시 동해인베 한다 태다 메바 배 가두이네 냠도베 동해디 용고바 베틸레 투즈베 로다 저와다 차다 자 망고시 로망고 차가지도 하잖아 간다르 로 가서 장가 잡네 맞잡네 레디 맞어나 대부디 용고고 여봐 어디 삼로 코르코레서
So long as the non-virtue has not run out, one will not stop living that life. That is, one will remain continuously coupled to that pain for as long, however long, here counted billions of years, whether you count them out or you do not count them out, so long as the non-virtues remain, one remains bound, coupled to the utterly intolerable sufferings.
뭐야? 우리 이제 다다 되게 시마 야용도 당만서 당고 그 심지에 감 망고 유배 나네 아니 미리 세대 하장 퉁퉁 엘레 아니 좋아시한다 신신다 신도 들을 셋답다 답 링아 여고 유세디 다레 미케와디 마소 바틀로 코 데부디 용고고 유바 이르 코 세리와 용고 유세지 차바래서
And when we expand a bit in explanation, where there are so many sites where sentient beings reside, and where the human lifespan is relatively short, and all the other spans of life of the other beings in other realms are many times greater than the human lifespan, it's for this reason that so long as there are non-virtues remaining, they must be experienced. For this very reason, these lifespans are so long as they are.
예, 되게 간단한 녀와다 미다다 전부들도 동해 채와 이어봐. 대양 동해 녀와의 투수의 배로 파장 망고 이어봐. 뒤주고 둘째 대체. 다 뒤중은 주중은 하나 좀 단단 하나 좀 사고 밀루 때나 헬레 도데 세대 통한 여러데 세 통한 여러 나시 양 저기 가게 간다 대화 두배라양 하나도 톱당 채와 아니 고급 상아 아니 가르치도나 제도에 차진 차상 상아 되게 된 건들을 외워 쉬울래 땡기가 그래서
And when lifespans of hell beings and the preta, and when the pain of hell beings and preta and animals is so much greater than the pain of human lives, also indicated by this fact is how it is to be a human being, though with a short lifespan. In that short lifespan of less pain, it's just that span of time where one has greater capacity to realize contentment, more freedom for bringing about well-being, the better opportunity for bringing about well-being, and the greater capacity. This too is indicated here.
이제 이거 다른 방도 안에 취해야기 고급 임바 고급 임배 나는 취지도가 튕긴 상황 어디 나는 취지도기 여봐 어디다 된데 차나 예배 고급디 인상 다 취해 주제 단달에 제가 이제 거리게 되는 거라서
Thus, then, the present moment as moment for demonstrating dharma, that it is the opportunity for just that. It is the moment with the conditions supporting just that, that it is the very capacity for just that. It's all present now. So now is the moment. And in this way, we return to that theme.
지금 딱 말한들 밀라 카리어를 쓰는단 세 딜라 레사네 세 딜라 제부 용투야 여봐 당저 제부들 그런 것만 되시게도 여봐 통주 인주를 내 얘네 인주를 내세야 내 망고 되시게 와서 통주 인주를 내디 또 밀려요 그래서 이게 모두 세딜라 레산에 세딜라 되고 용토야 미버디 미때는 여바이도 안에 상계도 자주 선바도 쉬어서 유제들라 인지미지 미국이 여바 그 제직 대를 해서
Then what do we have here in the human moment? We have uniquely a moment where the results of karmas created in this very lifetime may be experienced, their result known. There are among karmas various forms of karmas, those that are born out in the same lifetime, those born out in subsequent lifetimes. Here, those that manifest in the present lifetime, those which are accumulated as karmas and then ripen in their results in one lifetime, are especially unique to the human lifetime. So it is that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas especially require the human being in their audience.
일단 밀루디 파 잽산이 아니 양교 밀루 말하고 있나 아니 다들 말하도 취해 고급세디 그때 다들 주주셔 고급셔로 찍바레스는 달리 취해 치토고 고고요래 다 제약 취해들라 아니 맞아 이래 두두야 동에게 유방야 어떤 인연이 그래서
And with the present moment of having a human life, when it happens that it isn't so easily gotten again, then that will amount to the very loss of the opportunity of dharma. It is the same as having lost that dharma. So now is the moment to demonstrate dharma, to demonstrate the causes of contentment being realized and the causes of pain finally being abandoned.
거의 받으는 거 오늘 지나들은 것도 딱 거기에 송구 동에 시에 주주에 있는 동에 송구 동에데 년 두야라야 아웅에 송구 동에 년도 있게 봐 내가 송구 동에 줄 때서 이체가 영향을 전달라 아니 되게 대시 기아버레스 대시 기아버레 아 대샤 아니 가서 동에 냥당기 아니 냥내 체 전달라 아마 지니지 공적 아니 저거 지니지 오수
So really, our topic is the pain and suffering of hell realms. This is the moment to describe those. But in order to describe those and to consider them, there has to be an inclination, an interest in growing familiar with them, learning of them. And so it is to develop that interest and a recognition of the value of growing familiar with these that I have made these remarks. And now we will, for a minute or two, meditate in sympathetic identification.
일단 하나도 예 송기 동에 다 민마이 배도 하게 한달 미기 마통에 동에 이제 당내 치고르스나 됐어 자세만 차하고 요래 딱 하나도 미기 통대 봐 아니 암조 거대 봐 아니 랑기 명대 동에 하게 생기 동에 뇽도 서로가 동에 뒤도 아니 삼무스탄 이 동에 뒤 아니 녀석의 녀한테 미시바바 주고 파 때문에 따도 근데 많이 봐 동해랑에 랑이랑 이나 아니 동해도 다 같이 영사를 냥투사마다 되게 삼었다 아니 제왜 동해에서 있다 미디어 되게 삼었던 다랑 동해디 마중에야 아니 시에는 동해 중나야 랑게 배 동해 단행이 수바 냠내는 저투야 어디데 냠내 전달했다 동해 남단게 냠내생 스펙 해신 거요 그래서
In the kinds of pain and suffering that are not apparent to us, that aren't visible to us, exercising a willingness to patiently bear them is a difficult exercise, then we begin instead with the pain that is apparent to us, which we see and hear of and experience ourselves, and identify it as the very same pain experienced by others. It's sensible to us. So we think of, draw into our minds the experience of pain had by another, and seeing it as it is, imagine ourselves experiencing just that pain. And then we evaluate, is this pain this other experiences bearable or not? And if it isn't bearable, then how to prevent it? And if others experience it, how to willingly bear the pain of others to prevent it. So this meditation in sympathetic identification.
시작된 거죠. 제가 근데 이런 수수 지금 야보 잡투니 수부 대고 유니트서 아니 도지시 기둥을 지는 야보 대토나 아니 뭐 당보여다. 자동도 가도 샤도나 아니 뭐 당보여는데 도지 기둥을 아 수부 수수 따고 도지 기둥 대마통이나 아니 그 수도 루이도가 흘르지 샤 셈비 고치 대토야 답시죠. 그래서
Now, meditating, if we are able, we may adopt the foundational full lotus posture. And when the body is put into this position, then it clears the mind and the paths of the wind energy are open and clear. But if one isn't able to adopt this posture, then relax the body, but maintain a alert mind.
수고 내다 대세 가슴이 삼로다니 맞소 배지난 배sab수로야 삼로 가르다는 마디고도 이내 다 배전도 찍히거나 아무 등산 막고 막고도 막고 나라니 막되는 배 천재 친구들 떠는데 미 아이 신 가시 배 강바제 라바제 배 수고 뭐마시 마차 수고 배 이제 단단강의 용시 버들 미겠다 맞소 통구도 하자다 대대지 삼로다 이 동네 년이들랑 이나 아니 다 가져야지 소리 투사래 그다음에 소리 투고 민도는 아니 다 동네 들려야 직파가 동네 되겠다 아니 되게 동네 용 거야 근데 가디 사 되게 뒤바라 다서 좀 랑게 레사와 있나 타봐 신기 레사 샤와 있나 저에 타고 있지 삼바 이제 미과 저 샤니 아니 배 미과 셈 제치과 지금 삼지 다음에 뭐 까마치 범자고 소
As for what will be contemplated, meditated upon here, it isn't as though it has got to be just this that is object of meditation here now, and that others won't do and can't be object of meditation. But here's one object of meditation to consider for this meditation. Recognizing that there is violent conflict everywhere, and that it actually involves the use of weapons, and the weapons cause explosions, and in the explosions, individuals are losing their arms and their legs, and their bodies are wrenched apart so that they become unrecognizable. And this is actually the case. And so if that were me, how much of that could I take? And when this pain is experienced as the result of karma, and when I have accumulated my karmas, how might I avert such pain? By removing those karmas. And how might I remove the karmas that lead to this pain as it is experienced by others. In this way, single-mindedly meditate.
거의 다른 거는 쭉 가면 무슨 있어서 야, 뭐 저야가 되는 거 저거 할 때.
If you're able to sit in a upright posture, do so.
나는 되고 싶어 보다.
I'm going to ring the bell.
야. 예.
1, 2, 3.
로종기 냠내 이제 콩뚜요도 동에 냠당이 동에 딜을 때냐니 로종기 동에도 중얼로 유디 열어서
In the training of the mind, support for the practices of mind training are provided by this sympathetic identification, which becomes basis for pain considered in mind training.
아니야 드린 보자다 선배야 하고요 봐 아니야 무슨 마세와 가리유네는 그래서 장셰치도나 세르도 그래서
And so then we'll conclude here, and then any doubts that there may be or anything that isn't clear, we can, through conversation and discussion, clarify. Excuse me.
야, 뭐 이런 속 되는 거.
anything. And
Yeah.
if not, then we.
Thank you, yes, with your
Yeah.
teaching. The realms are representative of physical spaces and also mental states of mind. Is that true for the hells as well? And if so, what mental states align with the hot hells, the cold hells, what I call the suburban hells, the hells around? How do they align, if that is true?
这些的더 코로에 네 면라와 대다 아니 죽단 덴베 사샤 양레 디마세 심기 뇽와 뇽사 양 찌기요로와 제zan데 아니 죽단 덴베 사 야면네 네 야면 숙메 양요레 얘네데 디 아니 아니 서로한 양사 시네 아니 사회 동어 말이 사회 니아와다 아니 장외 니아와데 대다 심기 서로한 양수 간듯이 요래 간르레데
알레 빼지 간다 나랑도 미루 딜러 빼잘 대란 나랑도 미드베 동에 되게 빼라 쇼레스 나도 셈나 남다 루이 나자 요번 마신다 빼대 걔다 유주지 버지게 하래 다야 수메 감도 있나 수메 감 거라 있나니 저 동에 요말 하고
서로 받으면
저 동에 요말
맞아
저 동에 요말 제가 저 동에 요사디 속이 감마도 수메 감도 요말했어 아무 찍 다시 찍스 도지로서 다 속이 감나네 저도 되봐 왜 나네 다 동에 칠골레 내기 제부 칠로 또 치중 것도지 아니 금방 먹고 싶래 봐 왔어
our body in the painful experiences that are unwanted, it's just those painful sensations that are physical and mental, such as anxieties. These are such pains, but in the formless realm, recognize there is no painful sensation. So now we are considering the form realm, and within the form realm, the desire realm, where the intensity of pain is the result of the intensity of the underlying karma.
제가 이 부분에서 누가가 다 풍부 유여바 시샤다 풍부 유여바시 풍부 유여배 땡네 아니 소화되게 용고요 말도 그냥 풍부다 매배 내가 봐 소화되게 용하게 해요 말와
So then, in the hell realms and the pain in the hell realms, it is pain based upon embodiment as hell being. It entails sensation and painful sensation. It's not a kind of painful sensation apart from the embodiment of it.
제가 래 중에 용어보디 뭐만 레사베 내가 수진 디다 충분 직체네 동의 용어라서
And the experiencer, the individual experiencing the pain, has been embodied as they are, as expression of underlying karma, which ripens on that body.
디디 치 하다고 하고 용사기 내줘디 porque nieve tiene levar mando chiquita 동행용 얘기 초와대 뭐만 내서 주 내가 비 딱한테 되게 가다 무슨데 저 예배 터네 안 동행이 용을 해서
So it is underlying karmas express a particular embodiment in the ripening of their karma, and the hell being is just one such physical expression. And there, with this as the site, the embodied site of the underlying karmas, physical and mental experiences transpire.
거의 인용한테 남미기 제부디 니웨 때는 거래 이두기 제부디 아니 두루다 이다 때는 뭐와 이두인데다 제바기 때는 나와기도 이거 테스트 쳐볼 테스트 이거 잘 쳐봐.
And so the fully ripened results transpire in through the hell being. Then the causally concordant results transpire through physical basis in the Preta realm or the animal realm. And in those causally concordant results, they may be consistent with the cause in action or consistent with the cause in experience.
내 프랑기다 한 내디기 단대기 제분요 된데 제마페나 냐왈레게 나미기 제부타 이네 이다 들을게 기둥이 제부타 타네 미께 어떻으려면이나 미텔라양 거기 단대기 다들 제부요 그러나 레고는 사야 레 사야라베 무티네 베사 투야 여바 어다 아니 랑이 늘을 내 나다만 뭐 여바 어다 공부마상와 뛰고요. 미때는 깨봐 있는데 이게 간가 단대 차다. 그래서 레지기 되불래야 배 되고 림바 망고 열어.
As accumulated karmas are exhausted through their ripening, first ripening as fully ripened results in through expression in hell beings, then through preta and animal beings. When the exhaustion of karma has happened such that an individual is born a human being, then there are yet environmental results that will transpire in that human-born being as illness, susceptibility to illness, as disease, as developmental short lifespan, and the like.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la. My question is regarding pain and the practice of extending self or other Yojong practice, mind training. It's difficult to fathom the unbearable pain and suffering in hell realms or lower realms and so on. Because they are unknown and unseen to us. But for me, it's also very difficult to see or witness the unbearable pain of human suffering. For example, one time I saw a video clip of a woman
who was accused of being a thief. And they beat her up and also set her on fire. And there were people standing around watching, and nobody intervened to help her. And I felt so badly, and it hurt me so badly to see her suffering. But you know, in my mind, when I practice, I try to say that, please, I will accept the sufferings of others and the causes of suffering of others onto myself. But I don't really go to the point of thinking that I will physically and mentally suffer their pain, like that unbearable pain of the woman setting on fire. In those cases, most of the time, I just pray that her suffering would end soon, her karma would, end soon, and she would be liberated from that pain. But to think that if I can really honestly take on her pain as mine, and this is what I see, it's not unknown. So, I don't know, it put me in a state of, I'm trying to practice, and my practice is not really sincere, because I don't generate sincere feeling to take on the pain of others at this point in time.
Oh yeah, then the 동네 남샷 남제와 다데 아니 로종기 냠내기 나네 아니 동네 요라 동네 공개베까 제타 also tata 기시게 아니 냐웨 동네에서 아니 송난거도와 아니 가서 디 통야요 말에 아무튼 통야요 말와 아니 냐웨기 동네에서 가서 통만요 아니 미세딜라 아니 통용웨기 아니 동네에서 베나 아니 닌통책 대바인바 닌통델라 아니 미루루존이 아니 꾸마책 부메책 아니 동대 땅네 매작 땅에도 다 되는게 디 통네 아호디 아니 뭐게 매작 땅네 동어 가세 아니 양대요나 되네 독바다 남라 된데 깨용도 디 모수도 버려 통통 와라 아니 저러들 아니 랍용도 아니 막 동nem디 공도 제단데 신기 동아 ngala naryong ra ngala membarsho ani samodi korchugurwa korchugure ani danglengi sobade jenero ani shengi dongnode ngala meyong ani samlo kangsugni tangurwa yinaya ngayi ba yena chuma mayemba yorwa te 당도 랑웨 벌라부르 아니 서버디 아니 처마samre 간신데 난 뭐네 아니 메자 탕세기 부메 데기 동아 갈라 아니 멤버쇼 사모디 뭐네디 코리용이면도 뭐네 코리용이면도 아니 디 동아데 아니 통통어래 아니 녀웨기 동아데 간제스 아니 로 choma mayimbe ngangne ngala mimparasho kanjis ani samotang within the question itself there are the answers, it supplies itself.
나 저거 지랑 나 랜디나 지랑 나 저 당보 알게 저거 타는 라생다 저마다 저마 많이 봤을라 나 저마다 매나 저마 많이 봤래야 제가 하고요 당보 저마 될 장 저마디 슉처처처다는 저마 많이 봤 인지 공나자 잡아 공나자 당보 저마 공 저마 공니 저마 많이 봤어 서버마다 저마 마고마 저마 많이 봤어 두개가 나가요 말해
In the question are the answers, and so I will respond moving backward from the end, and it's to respond to what you've already expressed, that there are indeed sincere and insincere, or first the simulated and then the actual experience of anything that is to be cultivated, whether it is compassion or love. First, the simulation of it, and only after going through the simulation will it ever be followed by the authentic instance of it.
나는 이거들 지랑 나로 저만 그거 많이 받고 주 뒤리 냠랭 파워는 안 되니까 용 거야. 이제 가르치는 지랑 기타 하게 배서 자는 지랑 공외게 아니 데모델 때네 말로 소화치 랩사도 왔어. 소화들 랩사도 수수기 소화디 아니 양교 쌤는데 두바때 투나 오라메로 동해들아 영예들 북한데 하게 저번 지도야가 동해를 모시에 나가 빼야고 차사래서
And then secondly, following this, which is the necessary first simulation, and then the following authentic instance of a cultivated experience. So following that, following what you yourself described, having seen the clip that did cause the response in you that it did, now you have in that response, which was natural expression on your part, you have what you would reintroduce to your own mind, re-expose your own mind to, as the very constructive beginning for that development of the familiarity with the pain of others, further development of it, and the exercise of that acceptance of taking on the pain of others.
그랑 내용원에 되고요. 당아서 공의 기 소화당 아니 유카리 용어 있나야? 되게 될라 세여봐. 그랑이 유바 취주지. 유바디 세매가 되는 말 세여봐. 당아서 공의 남식이 아마 미리 쉐바기 소화라 세여 말에 아니 다 간다를 because 통투고래 내가 통투고 말할 내게 세요 말해라 아니 용해야겠다 제가 동해기 원에 동해기 하고 용해 내게 남이 용해지 얘기 남식 용거를 마도 공해 온보기 양투 말했어 단단하도 칠로 빼셔야 돼서 그거 공해 온보기 뭐 대도 숨을 빼라 제네 아니 얘기 소화 대도 숨대 아니 용해야 염용가 파 염내는 치고 해서
And in reality, and in actuality, the sensations induced by our sense faculties, whatever is felt and experienced, induced by the faculties of our physical senses, will always be finite, bounded. Whereas mental consciousness is not finite and bounded in the same way. We take as illustrative instances, pain that is manifest and apparent through our sense faculties. But then in any experience that would be infinite and boundless, such as unimaginable pain, that unimaginable boundless pain is going to be an experience of mental consciousness, particularly, and we take as illustrative instances of pain that are known through sense faculties.
세상 당당한 쪽이 보면 남시 되게 내가 지금 여러 왔는데 보면 남시 시발 락바 되게 내가 지금 여러. 그래서 시발 락바 되게 내가 지금 남시 시발 락바 되게 네 두고 말. 걸로 뭐. 가도. 가는 시발 참모들 내가 지금. 시발 참모들 내가 지금 아니 맞었다. 다들 내 통금이도 세다. 나한테 하고 맞아. 내 시험도 세 되게 돼. 이제 망고지. 고라라시 가도. 제가 딱 맞고 나도 하게 민마 통하게 동해시야 대화시야 저 강가 다셈 참우비 저버림 사페시요 그랬습니다.
States of conscious awareness informed by the sense faculties are coarse. They cease. When they do, they may be followed by states of conscious awareness that are subtler. Those states of conscious awareness that are subtler, with the ceasing of those coarser ones, will resolve all of these uncertainties regarding what is unseen and so far unfamiliar to us. Unknown forms of pain and suffering will be evident to subtle states of conscious awareness in absorption in those subtle states of conscious awareness.
거의 하나도 깨워서 치료기 쌤이 양면하고 자료 치료도 공부를 라고 가기 차로 타마 전에 왜 세셔 다왜 세티가 라네야 왜세 롱이어는 이네 봐제 롱이어도 아니 롱티네 손지 롱다 좀 막고 저다 어떻게 돼야 샤다니 깨왈레는 야 공부시라고 그런 거 그것도 와 어디 나신다 잠블링 차나 삼 단계네 자 아니 그거 그 과, 3단계나 가다 시에바라고디 수도야 라고는 타모 파게 두체 아니 레가 고스무 레사야 단 저바 남샤가가 아니 타마 다 잘라도 뭐수 뒤서도 시에바 타모 하점서데 시에바 타모는 잡도 이제 이 아니 맞아 다 대도 그 남샤게 되네 저와 되게 하나 참아내고 그래서
In the production of birth and in the cessation of death, in the process of dissolution during the event of death, coarser states of conscious awareness give way to ever subtler states of conscious awareness until finally clear light dawns. And then from the dawning of clear light, then again with the agitation of moving wind energies, that subtle state of conscious awareness begins again to grow coarser and more coarse, producing an embodiment again where coarse states of conscious awareness manifest. And in the generation, in the production of a universe, and in its disintegration, and in the process of birth and death, is involved this expansion and contraction through ever coarser states of conscious awareness, and then again in contraction into subtler states of conscious awareness. And then that subtle state of conscious awareness is again the beginning for the expansion again into coarser states of conscious awareness. And so our reason for the exercise of this expansion and contraction. And so then, just as when, say, parents have 2 or 3 gifts in store for their child, and they give the first gift to the child, and the child is so delighted, and they with their first gift, and they know there's a second to come. Now you yourself have, in the experience you've had, your basis for an awareness of more yet to come that will follow from your exercising and intensifying your meditation and cultivation. And then the time has come to close with our closing prayers. And the point, in short, in closing prayers is to direct the virtue of the exchange and dharma in instruction and listening, that accumulated virtue to the removal and purification of negative karmas that result in pain, so that the karmas are removed and the pain hasn't got to be experienced, both for oneself and for others, that others too do not experience pain by the force of directing this virtue to the elimination of the karmas responsible for that pain which is mental fear and anxiety, and which is physical, in order that all know contentment and that their pains and sufferings are finally dispelled. To this end, I recite these closing prayers, and when this is the motivation, then the prayers are indeed very blessed.
Lume mare kidon jowa
Page
yi
12.
mande jave ombo
Dang yürüyeceğim
Dema
derma
zumbe
zumbe
tera
tera
kundu
kundu
ya
Jambe
jambe
yangi
yangi
sever
sewe
ceson
cheson Tembe ba kuzan ange jo nye trube gena nye sho Rangi chi che dobe lange ne shura sewe chabe chake Rove yiji mba se je ne jewe tembo ruri zinju chi tembo rinji choye ma jarwa charya yamba chode yiji chembe yi rava jeba yi mende deje sewa jeba sho seje gyawe me jon chile le jo chanju lamji rimbe kyang Tabu nange yiwa bede shi jawe zeba rindu kyonju ji Lansa rumbe dungin ruji ji gegen seje mida mime Sera kundu yawe mapa yi namda namda dewa mangiru ji Yanze teba jola chuju ji tujin jola chumba ji si Tude na ye tatu roji ji Rashi jasu chugun jaju ji
From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my life under Shri. May I find the best of the paths of complete teaching, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teaching for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teaching have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity, make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths, never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the Mighty One, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Lagi
Ye
chi
sabe
ye
ke
wa
wa
di
tin
tena
nam ro kun nam kam tin
Ye
ke
bara
ba
chi
ji
su
su
lo
lo sa
san
ja
ra
ba
ba
yi
yi
tin be
tembe
ni
ni
mo
mo
ren
rin
du
du
sa
sa
ji
ji
sho
ka
ka ri
re
ra
ra
we
we
ko
ko
we
we
sing
sing
ga
ga
de
de
tin
pen
dam
dam
de
de
wa
wa
na
na
yu
che re se wa ti di ya su yi sha be si di wa du ten yu ri ji ya be ba wo ji da tian ba da kun du san wo de yang ji shi
de da
대다
gu
우지
ge
제수 다런지 개와 대다 탐제라도
du
어떤
so shi
시를 여와 탐지게 고와 당와 쇼도 나이 예외 싸워 디군자 상보 체제라도 모르게 나조 선조 렘보제 마예 바나지 예와 냠바 메바야 고네 고도 배워를 쇼
I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Lothar Dao to shine forever. In a land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and goodness, all powerful, changes and and counsel. Please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the great Manjushri and Samathabhadra do realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits and methods that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue. The dedication praise is the best by the victorious that's gone once of the three times, so that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel of bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase more and more.
사실은 아마도 그제 채널 아니 지로 남시 야구는 아주 가지고 가만 나다. 이나 제 손안에
Oh, thank you, all of you, and if the weather isn't good outside, then we can share our meal in the far room.
아니도
There, I'm gonna get up.